Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the latest episode of Geeky Clinicians Talk.
Yay! Woo!
Again, my name is Dr. Deborah Dantzler, and I'm Chief Geek here. And I'll let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about.
I'm Jacinta. I'm League Geek.
And I'm Sandra. I'm the PMRP. No, I'm sorry, PMP resident geek. I'm stuttering today. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
All good. So, today on this riveting episode of Geeky Clinicians, we decided we would like to maybe talk a little bit about what is an insecure overachiever, right? We know at 3D psychotherapy, we work with insecure overachievers to help bring serenity to their chaotic world, right? But what does that actually mean? How did we come to specialize in working with people who might identify as insecure overachievers? And what are, as clinicians, what has been your biggest challenge working with an insecure overachiever, and what's been your biggest win working with an insecure overachiever, right? And so before we jump into all of that, I want to give the disclaimer. We as clinicians are talking about broad topics, broad examples, and even when we give examples, we are never at any point talking about any current client that we're working with or any past client that we've worked with at 3D psychotherapy. So this would be just general examples of work that we've done. So just giving that disclaimer. And so we're going to go ahead and jump in. So insecure overachievers is a term, an actual term that was coined and developed out of a study that was conducted by Harvard Business Review. And so Harvard Business Review, the researchers looked at, I wish I had the study in front of me, but they looked at hundreds of Fortune 500 companies, and they interviewed and assessed the employees of those companies. And what they found was a pattern of behaviors that were consistent across these companies, and they labeled that that pattern of behavior as insecure overachievers, right? And so, and I'll look for the reference and I'll maybe post it in the show notes. And so what they found was that these types of employees were usually extremely driven. They were dogged, actually, very dedicated. These were the kinds of employees that came in early, stayed late, worked on the weekends. They produced a lot and excelled in their area of expertise. And so, and all of those things being great and being great for the company, but when they dove deeper, what they found is the underlying driver of all of that doggedness was a lot of early experiences, early life experiences that were challenging, right? So they were these insecure overachievers were dealing with a lot of perfectionism, procrastination, people pleasing, self-sacrifice. They had difficulty setting boundaries. They had difficulty saying no. they're usually in their family system, the family fixer or family savior. And they were basically doing amazing things for these companies, but they were also driving themselves to exhaustion. And so that is the backstory of how the phrase, how the name Insecure Overachievers was coined. There's also a British show called Insecure Overachievers, very interesting.
Really?
But, yeah, on BBC. But so that's that. Any thoughts, questions, or anything about the kind of the original origin from the Harvard Business Review?
I feel like I need to be sitting in your chair, Dr. D.
You are you saying that you're feeling like that description kind of resonated?
Ding, 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 ding.
You know what I say? I always say our niche is us and we are our niche, right? That's how we got there. So there's quite a lot of things to unpack there, being an insecure overachiever, right? One of the things I put was perfectionism and procrastination, but then I said, nah, I'll just wait. I won't do that now. So
Did you say anxiety though? I don't think I heard you say anxiety.
no, I didn't. I didn't actually say the way that those things manifest are, anxiety, depressive symptoms, interpersonal conflicts, interpersonal relational conflicts,
Mhm.
those sorts of things. But speak more to that.
Well, I just find it interesting that every time I have certain clients in front of me and we're going through all the issues, and all the issues seem to be procrastination, like you said. They are a lot of imposter syndrome.
That's it
Um,
as well.
yeah, yeah. And then the interpersonal issues and anxiety. And when you ask them, are you an overachiever? They either start laughing or they go, yeah. So yeah, just to see the commonalities among the clients when they come in, because they are insecure overachievers.
Yeah, and
And
most,
then maybe we recognize it because we see it in ourselves too.
yep, yeah.
I think I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna sit on the sideline.
Get in here.
I'll sit on the sideline with this.
Get on in here and grab a piece.
Oh, gee. I'm sitting here like,
Yeah. No, so there's so many layers to it, right? And I think back in uh before this kind of term of insecure overachiever, the more popular term used to be type A personality,
Mm.
right? Type A personality. But I think the difference in the descriptor, or why insecure overachiever may be a better descriptor than type A, is type A really only kind of celebrates those aspects, right? Like, be a type A, like to kind of work yourself into the ground, to driven to kind of have these kind of controlling relationships and things like that. But what type A as a descriptor doesn't do is it doesn't allow for the vulnerability and the awareness of the potential harm, right? Of actually being that driven, being that um kind of controlling with the way we orient to the world.
but Dr. D, don't you think that sometimes our own traumas or the way we've been brought up in the world of how we've grown plays a part in us becoming insecure overachievers?
Absolutely, Sandra, absolutely. I think the early formation of those core beliefs is key in the development of an insecure overachiever. Actually, I'll share really quickly my development of honing in on this niche that we call insecure overachiever. And so for double-digit years, I won't be too specific, but for double-digit years, I worked in the area of substance use disorder, right? Worked at residential drug and alcohol treatment, worked at outpatient drug and alcohol treatment, worked at PHPs, IOPs, so a variety of milieus of addiction treatment. And so what I would notice over time is the friends and family members of the person that was there for addiction treatment, they would be experiencing their own challenges, right? They were struggling with a lot of issues around control. They were really trying to control their loved one's behavior. They were struggling with a lot of kind of, they were owning everything. They usually were the family fixer, the family healer. They were dealing with a lot of anxiety, depression, imposter syndrome. All of these things were showing up for them because of that tornado that was in their life, which was a person in active addiction. And so over time, really started to pay attention and focus in on the patterns that showed up in those family members. And then once I left the residential drug and alcohol treatment and came over here to private practice world, what we know to be true is that the level of care, as we look at ASAM levels of care, level of care ASAM level 1, which is what we are, it's a private practice, was not appropriate for somebody who's actively in addiction, right? So really wanted to focus on supporting those friends and family members of the people who were still in treatment in residential or getting the higher level of care that they needed, but really helping them to identify, how do I take care of myself? How do I learn to say no and not have to stay up all night worried and anxiety about my loved one? How can I stop self-sacrificing, put the oxygen mask on myself, and still be able to meet the needs for myself and my family? So that's how it kind of narrowed down. And then as I was looking at those patterns of behavior and doing research, that's when I came across the Harvard Business Review article. And I said, oh, that's what this is called. They're called insecure overachievers. And so, yes, that early childhood instability, right? And it could be because of substance abuse. That's just how I discovered it, because that's the area I was in. But that early childhood instability could be for other reasons. It could be for a parent having a mental illness. It could be because of a lot of different things. But that early, those core belief formations of, I have to take care of everybody. It's my responsibility. Everything is on my shoulders. If I don't do it, it won't be done right. Jump in. I'm just, come on.
I'm just wondering on the back of what you just said, if how often birth order has something to do with, right?
That's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a great study for somebody to do, to really kind of see if there's a correlation with birth order and that family hero, that family savior position, right? But in some ways, when we're talking about an insecure overachiever that grew out of a narcissistic
Oh,
family structure, then I don't know that birth order matters. It only matters is who the narcissist chooses to be king.
right?
Like, who will be my golden child?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And who will be the scapegoat?
Oh, yes, because you got to have the balance of the scapegoat, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit on the side now. Help let, I'm gonna let out of oh Jesus. Okay.
It sounds like we're touching on some things that may require some additional self-reflection and introspection.
I love the way you say
All right. So, what was your earliest awareness of working with this population? What are your wins with working with insecure overachievers? And what are your biggest challenges with working with insecure overachievers?
Ooh. Hmm.
That's a good question.
It is.
I think my biggest challenge is that sometimes the insecure overachiever, because they are so often good at most of what they do, it takes them a while to understand how being an insecure overachiever can really do damage to their lifestyle.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they think that, well, for one thing, they might think that, well, my anxiety has nothing to do with it. Or I have anxiety, that's all. It's not because of this. Um, and I have a tendency, at least at first, I had a tendency to kind of to want to take them too fast,
Mm.
or to want to tell them that this is what is going on without them coming to that realization themselves.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge. My earliest, I can't recall my earliest experience with the insecure overachiever. I know that since I've been with 3D, that is the majority of what I've seen. And I have had a lot of clients who are dealing with depression, anxiety, social anxiety, huge. Um, and they just really have a hard time getting through those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to, I always say I'm looking for strings. When I'm talking to a client, I'm looking for strings. So they give me little nuggets of information, and I like to pull on those nuggets like little strings. And when you get a string, you know you got it, because it's just like almost like the bottom falls out,
Uh-huh.
and you go, oh, there it is, and you pull it, and then all the information comes up, and yeah, yeah, you can really make some bounds.
Absolutely. Yeah. What I have found is that some of the biggest challenges with niching and focusing on insecure overachievers is one, because they have been the family fixer, the family hero, that they're so used to sacrificing themselves that again, it's hard for them to even, like you just said, to even accept that they can be vulnerable, that they do can ask for help, that it's okay to accept help, to take help. They're often the givers, and they don't like to, they're very resistant to taking. So that's been a huge challenge. Another challenge is their relationship with control.
Oh,
And so, hi, my name is Deborah. I am a recovering control freak. You guys are supposed to say hi, Deborah.
hi, Deborah.
Right? Recovering control freak. I actually remember saying when I was at some team building something years ago, and they asked the question, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? And I think I said something to the effect of that related to control, like, if people just did what I said, when I said it, how I said to do it, all
Everything
would
would
be
be
right with
fine.
everyone else, right?
We wouldn't have a problem.
Have a problem. All would be great, right? No, that is one. Who said it was my job to put the world on my back and try to do that work? That's not for me. That's a higher power. That's not for me, right? And so to get the client who comes in, first of all, to get them to come in, but to get them to see that, hey, all that weight you've been carrying, guess what? You can put that down. It's okay. You don't got to do all that. It's okay. They'll be okay even if you stop doing that, right? It's okay to say no. Boundaries. Oh my goodness. That's another huge area of work when working with insecure overachievers is just the awareness of boundaries, the acceptance that it's okay to have boundaries, and then to actually take the action of setting the boundary.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo, right? So huge, huge wins there. The thing with the positive part of the insecure overachiever is they are like, because they have progressed in such an advanced pro-social way, they're super smart, they're super curious, and they want to do the work once they've realized, oh, I can do this. And they go at it. Like we talked last time about bibliotherapy. They'll be reading all the books and then telling
Everything.
their own to be like, hey, have you read this? And
Have
this?
you read this?
I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, like, I tell people everything I know, everything I've learned, I learned from clients. I don't know anything myself, everything they teach.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sandra, I saw your hand up.
Oh, I was just going to confess too. My name is Sandra. I am. I struggle with boundaries because I want to save the world. So I don't know
Hi,
how to.
Sandra.
Yeah.
That would be me. So, but I do agree with everything that you both said. It's amazing to see when clients do come in and they're in that mode where I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to unfold all of this information, and I feel naked if I give it back. I'm naked. I'm exposed. I have nothing to keep me covered.
Mm-hmm.
And as a new clinician, seeing that, I'm like, oh crap, what do you do with all this now? What I'm gonna get into, because you should lay it out. so, but yeah, it's fine. Ooh, yeah. So what steps are we gonna take? Where you want to start? How are we gonna go about this? And where's your comfortable point so we won't push you to a place that you're not ready yet. So that's another piece of it for me.
That's an important piece.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. Yeah. So, insecure overachievers, helping them find serenity in their chaotic world. That is what we do. And we love it. And we want to just be able to uh, show the client that it's okay to put that stuff down and to be able to receive. And so, yeah, any last thoughts on this populace, our niche, our insecure overachievers?
Oh, so Jacinta and Dr. D, how would we allow the client to understand where to start in accepting that it's okay not to be that insecure overachiever, or to work towards healing that piece without fear?
I think that's a really good question, Sandra. I think that one of the things that I have seen historically is, and first of all, anxiety is a liar and a thief, but historically I've seen that there is that fear, this anxiety that if I let go of control, if I let go of being the family hero, the fixer, if I let go of being driven, that one, everything will fall apart, but most importantly, that they will fall apart.
Okay.
That they will no longer be, a C-suite executive. They're not going to be the top in their earner billable hours lawyer in their law firm. They're not going to be top doctor in, their fear is that because of that, the underlying trauma really has been the gas in the engine driving them, that if they heal that inner trauma and they really work on this, that they're somehow going to not be who they were. And so working with them to address that foundation of, you are still you, and you can't take nothing can take any of that away from you. And it's okay to work on that,
Yeah.
And so helping them realize that the ground is not going to open up and swallow them whole if they give themselves permission to do something different.
Yeah. I think that the getting them to work on boundaries can be super hard, because they are so used to being the ones to run everything, and nobody's ever given them permission to put that load down. There are some clients that I work with that I like to say, okay, you came here, you're looking for help. I'm giving you this wagon. So when I give you this wagon, I want you to, anything that is too heavy for you, put it in the wagon. Put it in the wagon. If this is something that you feel like you're not ready to deal with, put it in the wagon. And then drag that wagon around for a while and see how heavy it gets.
Mm.
You can put anything in your wagon that you want. Sometimes what we put in the wagon is too big for us to handle. Sometimes it is too much. And at that point, you have to figure out, do you want to continue to drag around this weight?
Yeah.
If you don't, then you have to find someplace else to put it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Got to set some boundaries.
Yeah. Gotta let it go. Oh, wow. I think, yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you both for a wonderful discussion today about insecure overachievers. If you guys have, and viewers, if you've made it to this far, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that more people can benefit from this information. We're grateful for you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.